The vast darkness of space stretched endlessly, a canvas of infinite possibilities waiting to be explored. The human starship Dasam moved silently, its sleek hull cutting through the cosmic void with purpose and precision. Commander HFY Park stood at the bridge, her eyes fixed on the holographic displays that mapped the unknown territories ahead. Humanity had prepared for this moment for decades. Years of research, technological advancement, and careful strategic planning had led to this single point of first contact. The alien Confederation vessels loomed in the distance, massive structures that seemed to dwarf human technology at first glance. Sungmin Kim, the ship's communication officer, sat perfectly still at his station. His fingers hovered above the complex communication panel, waiting for the commander's signal. The tension on the bridge was thick enough to cut with a knife, but no one showed any signs of fear or uncertainty. "Prepare initial communication sequence," Commander Park ordered, her voice calm and steady. The alien ships maintained their position, their crystalline hulls reflecting the distant starlight. They looked like giant geometric sculptures suspended in the endless black of space. Most species would have approached with caution, with fear, or with aggressive posturing. But humans were different. Sungmin began transmitting the carefully crafted message. It was a combination of mathematical sequences, diplomatic protocols, and a subtle display of technological capability. Each word, each number had been chosen, with meticulous care by Earth's best linguists and diplomatic experts. Inside the alien vessels, communication officers watched in confusion. They had encountered numerous species before, each following predictable patterns of behavior. Some would grovel, some would attack, some would attempt to negotiate from a position of perceived weakness. But these humans were something entirely different. The Dasam's advanced sensors picked up multiple communication attempts from the alien vessels. They were trying to understand, to categorize, to place humanity into a familiar context. But humans refused to be easily defined or understood. Commander Park understood something fundamental about first contact that many species missed. It wasn't about showing strength through aggression, but through confident, measured response. Her team represented humanity's best, intelligent, adaptable, and completely unafraid. Sungmin's console began lighting up with complex response signals. The alien communication was intricate, filled with layers of meaning that would take conventional translators weeks to decode. But the human systems were anything but conventional. Within minutes, advanced AI translation algorithms began breaking down the alien language. Patterns emerged, meanings became clear, and communication started to flow. The aliens were sending a mixture of diplomatic queries, technological assessments, and subtle probing questions. The bridge crew worked seamlessly, each member handling their responsibilities with professional precision. They were not just a military team, but representatives of an entire planet's potential. Every gesture, every response was a statement about humanity's capabilities. As communication continued, something unexpected happened. The alien vessels began to adjust their positioning, showing signs of genuine curiosity rather than threat. They were studying the humans not as a potential conquest, but as an unknown variable in their galactic understanding. Commander Park allowed herself a small smile. This was exactly what humanity had prepared for, a moment of genuine first contact that didn't rely on fear or aggression, but on intelligence and mutual respect. The stars seemed to pause, watching this extraordinary moment of interspecies communication. Humanity was writing a new chapter in galactic history, not with weapons or threats, but with understanding and technological brilliance. Sungmin looked up from his console, meeting the commander's gaze. No words were needed. They both knew this was just the beginning of a journey that would change everything humans understood about their place in the universe. The Dasam continued its steady approach, a beacon of human potential moving confidently through the infinite darkness. First contact was no longer a theoretical concept. It was happening right now, and humanity was ready. In that moment, suspended between the known and the unknown, between humanity's past and its potential future, everything seemed
possible.
The universe was about to meet a species unlike any it had encountered before. Dr. Yoonji Lee stood in her research laboratory, surrounded by holographic displays and complex quantum modeling systems. She had been working on an impossible problem: energy conversion that could revolutionize space travel. Most scientists would have given up months ago, but she was different. The laboratory hummed with advanced equipment, monitors blinking with countless data streams. Her team of young researchers watched quietly, knowing something significant was about to happen. They had been working for 18 consecutive months on this single project, surviving on coffee and pure determination. Quantum mechanics had always been complex, but Yoonji saw patterns where others saw chaos. Her approach was unique. She didn't just study existing theories, she challenged them completely. While other research teams followed established scientific protocols, she was creating entirely new mathematical models. Her latest experiment involved converting dark matter into usable energy. Previous attempts by global scientific communities had failed spectacularly. Governments and research institutions had spent billions without success. But Yoonji believed something others missed. The breakthrough came unexpectedly. A complex algorithm she had developed overnight suddenly produced results that seemed impossible. The computer systems began generating calculations that defied traditional understanding of energy conversion. Her assistant, Junho Park, watched in silent amazement. The holographic displays started showing energy transformation rates that were exponentially higher than anything previously recorded. What had seemed like a theoretical concept was suddenly becoming a practical reality. "We've done it," Yoonji whispered, her voice barely audible. The implications were enormous. If her calculations were correct, this discovery could provide unlimited clean energy for space exploration. Spacecraft could travel distances previously considered impossible, transforming humanity's understanding of interstellar travel. Global scientific communities began receiving the initial research data. Most were skeptical, demanding extensive verification. But the evidence was clear and mathematically precise. Yoonji had discovered something truly revolutionary. Space agencies around the world began reviewing her research. NASA, ESA, and the newly formed International Space Exploration Council started preparing comprehensive analysis teams. What seemed like a laboratory experiment was quickly becoming a potential game-changer for human space exploration. Her breakthrough wasn't just about energy. It represented a fundamental shift in understanding quantum mechanics and energy conversion. Traditional limitations suddenly seemed obsolete. Humanity could now consider travel to distant star systems that were previously unreachable. The research team worked tirelessly, running multiple verification tests. Each test confirmed the initial results. Yoonji remained calm, knowing that scientific discovery required patience and rigorous validation. Governments and private space exploration companies began making calls. Funding offers started pouring in, but Yoonji was more interested in the scientific achievement than monetary gain. Her goal was pushing human knowledge forward, expanding the boundaries of what was possible. Within weeks, her discovery was being discussed in scientific journals and news platforms worldwide. She had done what entire research institutions had failed to achieve: create a practical method of dark matter energy conversion. The technology promised to solve multiple global challenges. Not only could it revolutionize space travel, but it also offered potential solutions for sustainable energy on Earth. Clean, unlimited energy was no longer a distant dream, but an emerging reality. Yoonji's team celebrated quietly, understanding the magnitude of their achievement. They weren't just researchers. They were pioneers reshaping humanity's future. Their work would be remembered as a turning point in human technological development. As news spread, other scientific teams began attempting to replicate her research. But the unique combination of mathematical modeling and quantum understanding was distinctly Yoonji's approach. She had created something truly original. The laboratory that had been her home for months now felt different. It wasn't just a research space anymore, but a birthplace of a technological revolution. The holographic displays continued to show complex calculations. a testament to human potential. Space exploration suddenly looked different. Distant planets, previously considered unreachable, were now potential destinations. Humanity's understanding of its place in the universe was about to change dramatically. Dr. Yunji Lee had done more than make a scientific breakthrough. She had opened a door to humanity's future, showing that with creativity, persistence, and brilliant thinking, nothing was truly impossible. The Crimson Marauder fleet approached human colonies with ruthless precision. Massive battleships filled the star system, their weapons charged and ready for what they believed would be an easy conquest. They had defeated countless civilizations before, and humans seemed like just another potential target. Commander Seok-ho Kim stood on the bridge of the human defense vessel Thunderbolt, his eyes scanning the incoming threat. Most commanders would have shown fear, but his expression remained calm and calculated. Behind him, a team of young tactical officers worked with lightning-fast efficiency. Human defense systems were unlike anything the Marauders had encountered before. While other species relied on traditional weapon technologies, humans had developed something entirely different. Their military technology combined artificial intelligence, adaptive combat strategies, and unprecedented computational capabilities. The first wave of Marauder attack ships approached, expecting minimal resistance. Their previous conquests had always followed a predictable pattern: overwhelming force, quick surrender, total subjugation. But humans were about to change everything they understood about warfare. "Activate Quantum Shield Protocol," Commander Kim ordered. Instantly, the human fleet's defensive systems transformed. Shield frequencies began shifting at impossible speeds, creating a dynamic protection grid that made traditional targeting methods completely useless. The Marauder weapons, designed to penetrate standard planetary defenses, suddenly found themselves ineffective. Tactical AI systems inside human ships began analyzing the Marauder fleet's movement patterns. Where other species would take hours to develop a strategic response, human computers calculated optimal counter-strategies in milliseconds. Each enemy ship movement was predicted, tracked, and neutralized before the attack could fully develop. The first Marauder squadrons found themselves confused. Their advanced weapon systems seemed to lose target lock continuously. Human ships moved with an unpredictability that defied conventional combat mathematics. It was as if the entire human fleet was thinking and moving as a single, intelligent organism. Weapons systems on human ships were equally revolutionary. Instead of fixed firing patterns, their cannons could adapt in real time, changing frequencies and attack vectors faster than the enemy could comprehend. Each shot was precisely calculated, each movement strategically planned. "Prepare Quantum. Disruptive Sequence," another tactical officer announced. A series of specialized energy pulses began emanating from the human fleet. These weren't just weapons, but sophisticated technology designed to interfere with alien computational systems. Marauder ship communications began breaking down, their coordination collapsing under the advanced technological assault. Within hours, what was supposed to be a swift invasion turned into a complete disaster for the Marauders. Their most advanced battleships were being systematically dismantled by a force they couldn't understand or predict. Human technology had transformed warfare into an intelligent, adaptive dance. Commander Kim watched the battle unfold with professional detachment. This wasn't just a military engagement. It was a demonstration of human potential. Every tactical decision, every technological innovation represented years of careful preparation and innovative thinking. The Marauder fleet began retreating, something they had never done in their centuries of galactic conquests. Their massive battleships, once symbols of unbeatable power, now looked vulnerable and outdated. Humanity had not just defended itself. It had completely redefined the concept of military engagement. As the last Marauder ships disappeared into hyperspace, a strange silence fell over the star system. The human fleet remained perfectly positioned, a testament to their disciplined and intelligent approach to conflict. Communication channels across the galaxy began lighting up. News of the battle spread quickly, Humans had not just survived an invasion, they had done so with unprecedented technological sophistication. The message was clear. Humanity was not to be underestimated. Commander Kim allowed himself a slight smile. The battle was over, but he knew this was just the beginning. Humanity had shown its true potential, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The Thunderbolt and its accompanying vessels continued their patrol, silent guardians of human space. They had defended their colonies, but more importantly, they had sent a message that would resonate across countless star systems. Humanity had arrived, and it was ready for anything the universe might throw its way. Hyunwoo Park walked into the massive galactic diplomatic chamber, representing humanity at the most critical interstellar conference in recent history. The room was filled with representatives from dozens of alien civilizations, each watching the human diplomat with a mixture of curiosity and caution. Centuries-old conflicts between the Stellar Concordance and the Void Collective had created deep tensions across multiple star systems. Previous diplomatic efforts had failed repeatedly, with negotiations always breaking down into heated arguments and renewed hostilities. But Hyunwoo was different. Where other diplomats saw immovable positions, he saw opportunities for collaboration. His approach was unique. He didn't just listen to words, but understood the underlying motivations and fears of each civilization. The conference had been deadlocked for weeks before his arrival. Representatives from various species sat in their designated areas, communication reduced to cold stares and diplomatic formalities. Ancient grievances seemed impossible to resolve. Hyunwoo began by doing something unexpected. Instead of presenting a formal statement, he asked each delegation to share their most fundamental concerns. His translation systems were advanced, capturing not just words but emotional nuances that previous diplomatic efforts had missed. The Stellar Concordance representatives spoke first, detailing centuries of territorial disputes. Their history was complex, filled with pain and mistrust. Most diplomats would have approached this with confrontational language. Hyunwoo listened carefully, asking deep, meaningful questions that revealed the core of their concerns. When the Void Collective shared their perspective, something remarkable happened. Hyunwoo didn't argue or defend. He reflected their concerns, demonstrating a level of understanding that went beyond typical diplomatic interactions. His approach was less about winning and more about finding common ground. Advanced human communication technologies helped bridge gaps that seemed impossible to cross. The translation systems didn't just convert language, they captured cultural context, emotional undertones, and subtle diplomatic implications. Hours turned into days. Where previous negotiations had collapsed, this conference began showing signs of progress. Hyunwoo's ability to find creative solutions became increasingly apparent. He wasn't just negotiating, he was helping different civilizations understand each other. The breakthrough came unexpectedly. By helping both sides recognize their shared challenges rather than their differences, Hyunwoo created a framework for potential cooperation. Resources, trade routes, and mutual defense became topics of genuine discussion instead of conflict. Alien representatives began looking at the human diplomat with newfound respect. His approach was completely different from anything they had experienced before. Diplomacy wasn't about winning, but about finding mutual understanding. Technology played a crucial role. Human diplomatic systems could analyze communication patterns, identify potential areas of agreement, and suggest innovative compromise strategies. What seemed impossible became potential reality. By the conference's end, something unprecedented had occurred. The Stellar Concordance and Void Collective had agreed to a comprehensive peace framework. Conflict zones would be demilitarized, trade routes would be established, and joint scientific research would begin. Other galactic civilizations watched in amazement. Humanity had done what no other species had managed: resolve conflicts that had lasted for generations. The diplomatic approach was distinctly human, intelligent, empathetic, and fundamentally optimistic. Hyunwoo returned to his delegation, not as a conquering hero but as a quiet architect of peace. He understood that true diplomacy wasn't about grand gestures, but about genuine understanding and creative problem-solving. The galactic community began seeing humanity differently. No longer were humans viewed as a new, potentially threatening species. They were now recognized as critical strategic partners, capable of solving complex challenges that had defeated other civilizations. News of the diplomatic breakthrough spread quickly. Space communication networks buzzed with discussions about the human approach to conflict resolution. Diplomatic academies across different star systems began studying Hunwoo's methods. As he looked out at the stars from his ship's observation, Hunwoo knew this was more than a single diplomatic success. This was a demonstration of humanity's potential to bring positive change to the galaxy. Humanity had transformed diplomatic engagement, showing that understanding, creativity, and genuine empathy could solve challenges that seemed impossible. 50 years had passed since humanity's first encounter with alien civilizations. The galaxy looked dramatically different, with human influence reaching every corner of known space. What began as a simple exploration mission had transformed into a complete reimagining of interstellar cooperation. Commander Jae-hwa Park, now an elderly advisor to the Global Space Council, watched the latest generation of human explorers prepare for their missions. The young faces were different from those of previous generations, more confident, more curious, entirely unburdened by the limitations that once restricted human potential. Human technologies had revolutionized every aspect of galactic civilization: energy production, medical systems, communication networks. Nothing remained untouched by human innovation. Where other species saw challenges, humans saw opportunities for creative solutions. Research stations across multiple star systems now featured human scientists working alongside alien researchers. The collaborative spirit that began with early diplomatic efforts had become a fundamental principle of galactic exploration. Boundaries between species blurred, replaced by a shared pursuit of knowledge. The quantum energy breakthrough discovered by Dr. Yoon-ji Lee decades earlier had transformed space travel. Spacecraft could now reach distances previously considered impossible. Entire star systems that were once unreachable became potential destinations for exploration and settlement. Alien civilizations that once viewed humans with suspicion now sought their partnership. Human medical technologies had solved complex health challenges that had plagued multiple species for centuries. Their approach to problem-solving became a model for technological and social development. Educational institutions across the galaxy began incorporating human learning methodologies. The ability to adapt, to think creatively, and to approach challenges from multiple perspectives became valued skills. Human educational models emphasized innovation over traditional memorization. Space exploration reached unprecedented levels. Human-designed exploration vessels could adapt to multiple environmental conditions, communicate across complex language barriers, and make scientific discoveries at an incredible pace. Each mission returned with insights that expanded galactic understanding. The military technologies developed during early encounters had evolved into sophisticated peacekeeping and scientific exploration systems. Adaptive AI, quantum communication networks, and intelligent defense mechanisms became standard across multiple civilizations. Diplomatic approaches pioneered by leaders like Hyunwoo Park had transformed international relations. Conflicts that once seemed impossible to resolve became opportunities for collaborative problem-solving. The galaxy had learned to communicate and understand differently. Young humans grew up with a completely different understanding of their place in the universe. They weren't confined to a single planet or even a single star system. The entire galaxy was their potential home, their playground of discovery and opportunity. Advanced terraforming technologies allowed human colonies to establish themselves on planets previously considered uninhabitable. Harsh environments became thriving communities, demonstrating humanity's incredible adaptability and innovative spirit. Communication networks connected civilizations in ways never before imagined. Real-time translation, cultural exchange programs, and collaborative research platforms made distance meaningless. The galaxy had become smaller, more interconnected, more understanding. The original human explorers who first ventured into unknown space would barely recognize the civilization they had started. What began as a cautious first contact had transformed into a complete reimagining of galactic potential. Commander Park reflected on the journey. Humanity hadn't conquered the galaxy through military might or aggressive expansion. They had done something far more powerful. They had inspired, collaborated, and demonstrated the incredible potential of intelligent, creative beings. As new, exploration vessels prepared for missions to unexplored star systems, the excitement was palpable. Each launch represented more than a scientific expedition. It was a continuation of humanity's incredible journey of discovery and understanding. The stars seemed to shine a little brighter, as if celebrating humanity's remarkable transformation. From a single species on a small blue planet to a civilization that had reshaped galactic potential, the journey was nothing short of extraordinary. Humanity had not just found its place in the universe. It had created an entirely new understanding of what was possible.